Hello and welcome to today's Racial Justice Sunday reflection. My name is Tim Yau. I'm the Mission Enabler for the Diocese of Norwich. And later on we'll be joined by Karlene Kerr, who is the Bishop's Advisor for Black, Asian, Minority Ethnic Affairs. Racial Justice Sunday started 26 years ago and it remembers three things. Remembering the importance of racial justice, reflecting on human diversity and thanking God for all that he has made in humanity, and finally responding by working to end injustice and racism and ignorance through prayer and action. So today the reflection is all about those issues. The song you heard on our entrance to the cathedral here today in Norwich was "All people that on earth do dwell." And that first line goes like this: "All people that on earth do dwell, sing to the Lord with cheerful voice." You know, at the moment it's hard to find something to be cheerful about, but God made us all people. We're all different in all different ways, and we all bring our particular gifts and talents and abilities, no matter what our race, no matter what our background, and we're here to celebrate that gift of God today. Before I invite Karlene up, I have a brief reading from the prophet of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 7. "How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, 'Your God reigns.'"
What does love look like? Today, Valentine's Day, it would appear that love is a canvas of reds and pinks, with chocolate, champagne, and flowers in the foreground. For the Church, today is also Racial Justice Sunday. And in the reading we've just heard, the prophet Isaiah offers us a very different picture of love. Feet. Not just any feet, but beautiful feet, sometimes referred to as lovely feet. I'm not sure feet of any kind would find its way onto a Valentine's card. So what does feet have to say to racial justice? In our reading, the prophet foretells of a time when God's people are exiled and held in bitter captivity by their oppressors. In their bondage, they long for deliverance. And that comes in the form of messengers running on the mountain. Peace and salvation had arrived. At that time, messengers were carried by runners, and Isaiah describes those privileged enough to carry the important message of freedom as having beautiful feet. Those within our communities and in our world who are oppressed, belittled, demeaned, excluded, attacked, ignored, forgotten, discriminated against, purely on the grounds of their race, also long for freedom. The freedom to just be. The freedom that comes from being treated with dignity and respect. Being treated as equals without judgment based solely on their race. The voices of BAME church members may be reflected here, for there are many individual stories of hurt and pain. Today, on Racial Justice Sunday, we remember the suffering of the Palestinians, the ongoing struggles of the Kurds, Yazidis, and the Roma people. We remember the legacy of slavery, which has produced ongoing racial divisions in the USA and elsewhere, prompting Black Lives Matter. And we in the UK have much to do to tackle the inequalities exposed by the coronavirus pandemic. All of this matters, but there is always hope. In the words of Martin Luther King, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Racial Justice Sunday is a reminder to us all, whatever the hue of our skin, that Christians are in the business of justice, and that we have a moral imperative to challenge injustice. We still have a mountain to climb, but climb it we must to join God on the mountaintop. We cannot pass by onto the other side. Do you have beautiful feet? Let us be messengers of the good news of God's love for all. Let us bring his peace and his promise of freedom and acceptance. And let us bring that message of that timeless assurance that our God reigns. That is what love looks like. I will end with a direct quote from the Archbishop's Anti-Racism Task Force in the light of the recent online racist abuse towards a member of the clergy. As we prepare to mark Racial Justice Sunday, we do so in keen recognition of the healing and restorative power of the love of God to be found in Jesus Christ. We also recognize the call for churches and individuals to be communities and agents of reconciliation in the midst of divisions, both in our church and in our country. We look forward to working with all those committed to the flourishing of racial justice in church and society for a time such as this.
And now a prayer for Racial Justice Sunday. O God of unconditional love, you who show no partiality in respect to people or nations, we have heard your good news and great joy for all people. We hear the good news and in hearing believe. We know that your sanctuary is a house of worship for all people, with no regard for the colour of their skin. As we worship you, knit us into one people, a seamless garment of many colours. May we celebrate our unity, made whole in your diversity. Forgive us for our inability to let our old selves die to the world. Amen.
A prayer for God's blessing. May God's grace and love fill the earth and also our hearts. May justice flow like a roaring mighty river. May peace descend like a dove upon quiet waters. And may we be mindful always that in God's kingdom all are loved to overflowing. Amen.